I woke up to a faint buzzing. That's what did it. Not a loud ping, not a call, just a soft vibration from the nightstand, buried under a pile of receipts and unread notifications. The room was still dark. My eyes adjusted slow, the glow of the street lamp outside cutting a soft line across the bed. She was beside me, or at least her shape was. Still, breathing slow. The blanket curved around her hip, her legs tucked toward mine like they always were when she wanted to feel close without saying it out loud. It should have been comforting, but I was cold. I reached for my phone. Maybe it was work. Maybe an alert. I didn't expect what I saw. Thanks for your order. Your food was delivered at 2:48 a.m. My thumb hovered over the screen, my mind still waking up, trying to sync with the facts. The message had just been delivered, time-stamped, clear, and recent. It was from Chuan Garden, a place we only ever ordered from when we were too lazy to cook. They stopped taking dine-in customers during the pandemic, stayed delivery only ever since. Open late, until 3. But no one orders at 2:48 unless they're awake. Hungry. Alone. I turned my head slowly. She hadn't moved. Her hair spilled over the pillow like it always did. A few strands caught against her mouth. Her lips were slightly parted. Breathing steady. Maybe too steady. I sat up quietly. The sheets pulled away from my side. Cool with the kind of chill that creeps in when you've been sleeping alone for longer than you thought. My eyes flicked back to the phone. It wasn't a spam message. It had my name, the receipt link, a small thumbs up next to the address we shared, 2 spicy eggplant bowls, one side of dumplings. I looked at the time again, 2:48 a.m. I hadn't heard the door. I'd gone to sleep sometime around 12:30. She said she was tired early, knocked out on the couch before me. She didn't brush her teeth, just stumbled to bed. That's what she said. I pressed the side of my phone and set it back down slowly, like maybe the light would wake her. It didn't. Or she didn't react. I swung my legs over the edge of the bed and stood. Quiet. Careful. I made my way to the kitchen. Not for answers. Not yet. Just to see. The trash bin was empty. Too empty. That was the first real jolt. Because the last thing I remembered throwing in there was the takeout box from dinner yesterday, and I hadn't taken it out. Neither had she. The bag inside was fresh, liner perfectly pressed, like it had been replaced recently. And there was no trace of food. No containers. No chopsticks. No soy sauce packets. Just one folded paper towel. Clean. Pointless. I opened the cabinet under the sink where we kept the extra trash bags. One missing. She'd changed it. At 3 a.m. Without waking me. After ordering food she didn't tell me about. I stood there for a minute, heart tapping slow and dull in my chest. My ears rang a little. The kind of sound that fills silence when the world is too quiet. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she couldn't sleep and ordered something on autopilot and forgot. But the containers were already gone, disposed of carefully. And she hadn't touched the dishes from dinner. I opened the fridge. No leftovers. Back in the bedroom, she was still in that exact same position. Like she'd never moved. Like she was rehearsing stillness. I walked into the bathroom and turned the faucet just enough to make noise. Something. A sound that might nudge a response. I listened. Nothing. I flushed the toilet even though I didn't use it. Loud. Obvious. Still nothing. I stepped back into the room. Her eyes were shut. Her back to me. A slight curl of her wrist resting near her collarbone, almost posed. I sat on the edge of the bed. Did you order food last night? There was a pause. Just long enough to feel like something fell between us. Then she stirred, eyes fluttering like someone waking up. What? She mumbled, her voice thick. What time is it? Around 3:15. I just saw the notification. Said something was delivered at 2:48. She turned slowly, squinting at me. Her brow furrowed, not with confusion, but calculation. Wait. What? I didn't. No. I must have. Maybe I accidentally clicked something? I don't remember ordering. My eyes stayed on her face. The way she didn't ask what restaurant, didn't act surprised about the food, just that she might have accidentally clicked. I said nothing. Her hand moved under the blanket, pulling it closer around her like she was suddenly cold, or hiding something. Maybe it was a glitch, she added. That app messes up all the time. Yeah, I said quietly. Maybe. But I remembered deleting the app off her phone months ago. We'd argued about late-night spending. She swore she didn't need it. Said she was done with the cravings, the habits, the mindless comfort food. I watched her eyes. There was something too calm about them now. I'm gonna make some coffee, I said. Want some? She shook her head gently and rolled onto her back. I walked out and shut the bedroom door behind me. My hand stayed on the knob. Then I turned and walked outside. The trash bin out front was empty too. Someone had taken it out completely. No trace. Not even the bag. There's a moment, after suspicion takes root, when everything around you stops feeling real. Your couch. Your cabinets. The voice of the person you've lived with for years. It's like walking through a dream where nothing quite connects. I stood outside for 10 minutes, maybe longer, in just my t-shirt and sweats. The air was damp. A breeze stirred the trees along the sidewalk. It was too quiet for this neighborhood. I walked to the curb where we kept the bins. The garbage had been collected yesterday morning. That part one remembered. I'd waved to the truck driver through the window while rinsing my cereal bowl. But someone had taken our bin to the back and replaced the liner overnight. She hadn't moved from bed since I asked. I stepped back inside, the silence almost theatrical now. No pipes ticking. No fridge humming. Just the faint creak of my own footsteps. Her phone was on the charger next to mine. Face down. I didn't touch it. Just stared at the screen for a long second. I made coffee like I said I would. A single mug. I didn't ask again if she wanted one. She came out 20 minutes later. Hair a little messy, sleeves pushed up like she'd been laying there thinking. Not sleeping. You're up early, she said, yawning into her hand. I nodded. Couldn't really fall back asleep. She walked past me into the kitchen. Opened the fridge. Closed it again without grabbing anything. I watched the way her eyes scanned the counter, subtle and practiced, like she was checking for something without wanting to look like she was. You sure you didn't order food? I asked again, softly this time. She paused at the sink, turned the faucet on, ran water over a glass that was already clean. I told you. I really don't think so. Maybe I was half asleep. I don't even remember. Her tone was different now. Not defensive, but light. Distracted. A little too eager to move on. I sipped my coffee. You ever wake up, order food, eat it, throw it out, and clean the bin without remembering? She smiled faintly and shook her head. Guess I was more tired than I thought. That's when it clicked. There hadn't been any smell. No food smell in the kitchen. No leftover spice or oil in the air. No trace of the usual after-scent Chuan garden always left behind, the pungent garlic, the heavy soy. It clung to the walls for hours, sometimes days. I teased her about it more than once. But now? Nothing. I walked to the counter. Pretended to scroll through emails while watching her out of the corner of my eye. You remember what you ordered? She blinked. Huh. Last night. What did the app say? Oh. A pause. No. I didn't check. Maybe it was just dumplings? I don't know. Spicy eggplant, I said. 2 of them. Dumplings on the side. Her head turned slowly. Just slightly. Enough to register that she heard me. But she didn't ask how I knew. She didn't even look surprised. That's weird, she said, smiling again, but it didn't reach her eyes. I haven't ordered that in months. She had. The last time was 3 weeks ago. I remembered because she ate it alone in the kitchen with earbuds in, saying she had a headache. That had felt like nothing then. Now it felt like something else. I said nothing. That afternoon I went back through my transaction history. Sure enough, there it was. 2:48 a.m. Charged to our joint card. Delivery instructions matched what she'd used before. Leave on porch table. Don't ring bell. I hadn't heard anything. No knock. No car. No movement outside. I scrolled back a few more weeks. 3 similar orders. Always between 1 and 3 a.m. Always when I'd been out of town or asleep early. All from Chuan Garden. I walked into the bedroom and opened her nightstand drawer. Quietly. Not looking for anything specific. Just looking. Inside, a folded receipt. From a pharmacy across town. Dated 3 nights ago. Lip balm. Mints. Condoms. We hadn't used condoms in over a year. I sat on the edge of the bed, receipt in hand, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I hadn't even felt angry yet. Just that strange hollow hum of something unraveling. She came in minutes later, holding her phone, acting casual. "Want to do something tonight?" she asked. "We could go see that new thing you mentioned. Or get drinks." Her eyes flicked to the drawer, just for a second. Then back to me. I held up the receipt. She froze. Not fully, not obviously. Just a small stiffness in her shoulders. Then a half smile. "Oh," she said. "That's—" I picked those up for a friend. From work. I think she forgot to grab them. Or maybe I left it in there. I don't know. Her voice was light. Too light. I didn't speak. I just looked at her. The way you stare at a picture that doesn't match the memory it's supposed to hold. She sat beside me. Close, but not touching. "Hey, if something's bothering you, just say it." "I am," I said quietly. She waited, but I didn't go on. Neither did she. That night, when she went to brush her teeth, I slipped outside. Walked down the street. Found the neighbor's security camera. Mr. Harlan, retired military, obsessive about motion alerts. I knocked. Told him I thought I'd left my car door open around 3 a.m. and asked if he happened to catch anything. He was happy to help. Together we pulled up the footage. 2:41 a.m. A car pulled into our driveway. Not mine. Not hers. A black sedan with tinted windows. Headlights off. It idled for 2 minutes. 2:43. Passenger door opened. A figure stepped out. Hood up. Walked to the porch. 2:44. She stepped outside. Hair pulled up. No shoes. Just a long t-shirt. She'd been to grab the food. Looked over her shoulder once. Then handed it through the window. To him. The car sat for another 20 seconds. Then pulled away. She never looked back. And the porch light stayed off the whole time. I didn't say anything that night. Not to her. Not to anyone. We lay in bed like strangers in a hotel room, close in distance, far in every way that matters. Her shoulder brushed mine when she turned over, and I didn't flinch. I just stared at the ceiling, listening to her breath slow into something meant to sound like sleep. But I'd seen her face when I came back from Harlan's. Sitting on the couch, legs crossed, eyes on her phone, but not scrolling. Waiting. Not for me, exactly. Just for movement. When she saw me walk in, she smiled without looking up. A half-second delay. Too deliberate. "Everything okay?" she asked. I nodded. Just needed air. She held my gaze for a second too long, like she was trying to read something off my skin. Then she said, "Do you ever get those nights where your brain just won't shut off?" I didn't answer. I already knew hers wasn't shutting off. Not at 2:48 a.m. Not when she was handing food to someone waiting with the headlights off. Not when she came back inside and hid the evidence like she'd done it before. Because she had. I spent most of the next day at work pretending to function. The email chains blurred together. I must have rewritten the same client note 5 times and still couldn't hit send. Every sentence felt like a distraction. Every corner of my mind was anchored back to that black sedan. Back to her barefoot on the porch. By lunchtime, I knew I had to know more. So I left. Told my manager I had a migraine. Drove back home. She wouldn't be back for hours. I parked a few blocks away and walked in through the alley, where the back gate squeaked if you didn't lift it just right. I knew how. She did too. The sound never woke me because it never made a sound. Inside, everything looked untouched. Her mug was in the sink. A candle still flickering in the living room. Lavender. One of the expensive ones she said she saved for calm nights. I moved through the house like a guest. Careful. Quiet. Like I might run into something I wasn't supposed to see. The first drawer I opened was in her office. Her work-from-home room. Mostly it was clutter, planner notebooks, old receipts, lip gloss tubes, dried-out pens. I wasn't looking for anything obvious. Just anything. And I found it. In the bottom drawer, tucked beneath an old makeup bag, was a small black box. Not locked. Not even hidden well. Just placed like something she didn't expect anyone to look at. Inside, a second phone. Older. Cracked at the corner. Dead. I stared at it like it might move. When I plugged it in beside the lamp, it buzzed once, then lit up with a lock screen. No passcode. I shouldn't have felt surprised. There were only a few apps. One messaging service I didn't recognize. No contacts. No photos. But the messages were still there. Conversations. Dozens. Most from one name, A. No profile picture. Just text bubbles. A. You looked so good last night. A. I wish I'd stayed longer. Her. I told you not to come that close. A. You didn't stop me. Her. Because I wanted to. Doesn't mean I should've. A. So why'd you hand me the food? Her. I don't know. Maybe to remind myself how easy it is to slip. A. Then slip. I read it again. And again. The way she phrased it. The way he pushed. The way she let herself be pushed. Slip. Not fall. Not cheat. Slip. Like it wasn't really her fault. Like it just happened. Like a momentary loss of footing and not a conscious step off the edge. The last message was 2 nights ago. Hey, I'll come by next week. You'll leave the door open. Like last time. Her. No. Hey, you say that every time. Her. That doesn't mean I don't mean it. Hey, it just means I win eventually. No response after that. I turned the phone off. Slid it back where I found it. Made sure everything looked untouched. Rewrapped the cord. Closed the drawer. When I left the office, I caught a glimpse of myself in the hallway mirror. Something about the face staring back didn't look like me. My posture was stiff. Shoulders high. Eyes unfocused. Like I'd been underwater. I knew I wasn't ready to confront her. Not yet. Because this wasn't just about who she was texting or who she was feeding at 2:48 a.m. This was about how long it had been happening, and how close to home it had come. That night, she made pasta, opened a bottle of red, played some music low like she was trying to reset the mood of the house. Her hair was pulled back the way I liked it. She wore the gray sweater I once said made her look safest, softest. She poured me a glass. I watched her hands as she did it. Steady, controlled. How was work? She asked. I took the wine. Quiet. She smiled. You've been quiet lately. I raised the glass to my lips but didn't drink. You ever feel like something's off? I asked. Like, something's shifting in the background and you can't quite see it yet? She tilted her head, frowned slightly. Like what? I shrugged. Just a feeling. Her fingers traced the stem of her glass. Maybe you're just tired, she said. You haven't been sleeping well. No, I hadn't. But that wasn't why everything felt off. It was because I was finally starting to see what had been there all along. A thread pulling through the days. Tightening. I didn't know who A was yet. But I knew I wasn't the only one in this house watching. It's strange how quickly the mind rewrites things once you know how the story ends. Or starts to end. You revisit old scenes not as memories but as evidence. Her laugh at dinner. That night she didn't answer her phone. The work trip that didn't need a suitcase. Everything starts to take on weight. The morning after I found the second phone, she made pancakes. We never had pancakes midweek. She said she was just feeling it, but it came out too careful, like she needed me to associate her with warmth, comfort, predictability. I watched the way she poured the syrup. Not too much. Always the right amount. She was good at control. Later that day, I sat in the car across from her office building. I'd never done that before, watched her, tracked her. It felt pathetic, like something people in bad movies do. But I wasn't there to catch her in the act. I was just trying to see her from a distance, to observe the rhythm she thought I'd never question. Her office was on the 3rd floor. Insurance claims. Half her job was emails. The other half was client support, which lately meant Zoom calls from home. Or so she told me. At 4:12 p.m., she stepped out the side door. Not the front. She looked over her shoulder once. Brief, sharp, like someone trained to check for blind spots. Then she walked toward a car I didn't recognize. Not the black sedan. This one was smaller. Blue. Newer. A woman sat in the driver's seat, waving her forward. They drove off before I could get the plate. Back home, I didn't ask her about it. She came through the door at 5:58 p.m., 2 minutes earlier than usual. She kissed my cheek like nothing was different, but I could smell something faint on her clothes. Something not hers. A different detergent maybe, or a scent she borrowed. You ever think about taking a weekend away? She asked later, folding laundry beside me on the bed. What kind of weekend? I don't know. She shrugged. Something spontaneous. Cabin, maybe. Or just a hotel. No phones. Just us. That was new. She hated the woods. Said they gave her anxiety. No signal. No neighbors. Now she was suggesting isolation. You planning something? I asked. She laughed. Is it that weird I want to spend time with my husband? That word sounded strange in her mouth now. That night, after she fell asleep, I retrieved the second phone again. Not to read more. Just to hold it. To feel the weight of something she never expected me to find. And then I did something I hadn't done since this all started. I opened her main phone. I'd always respected her privacy. Maybe that was my first mistake. Maybe betrayal needs shadow to grow. It was locked, but I knew the passcode. She hadn't changed it. Maybe she didn't think she needed to. I moved fast. Not greedy. Not reckless. Messages, emails, calendar. Nothing obvious. But in her notes app, there was a list titled WD. Just that. Wed. I tapped it open. It wasn't about wedding plans or Wednesday errands. It was a schedule. 6:30, wake. 7 o'clock, jog. 8:30, work. 12:15, check drop spot. 1 o'clock, confirm payment. 6:30, keep him calm. That was the line that stopped me. Keep him calm. Not dinner with Jay, not relax. Just that. Keep him calm. Whoever he was, whether me or someone else, she had to prepare for it. Plan it. I took a photo of the list with my own phone. Put hers back. The next morning, I told her I was working late. A project deadline. Some nonsense she nodded through without blinking. I watched the way she didn't even ask for details. At 6:10 p.m., I walked in the front door. Quiet. The living room was empty. Kitchen, silent. But in the bedroom on the edge of the bed, her second phone was lit up, screen unlocked. Hey, are you going to do it? Her, I don't know. Hey, if not now, then when? Her, he's still watching me. Hey, then make him stop. I turned off the screen, slipped it in my pocket. She was in the shower. Steam curled out from the bathroom door. I stood there for a long time, staring at the blurred outline of her figure through the glass door. Her silhouette familiar. Ordinary. But I felt nothing familiar anymore. Not desire. Not even betrayal. Just the sick weight of clarity. She wasn't slipping. She was staging. I left the second phone on the nightstand. Unplugged. Left it like bait. And that night, I didn't ask questions. Didn't accuse. I made dinner. Sat across from her and asked about her day. Watch her smile. Laugh. Tell a story about a client who called her ma'am too many times. She told it with a flair that used to feel charming. Now it felt like performance. She reached for my hand across the table. Her palm was warm. I let her hold it, because I wasn't ready to pull away. Not yet. I was close to something, a shape in the dark, and I wanted her to believe she was still unseen. The plan was simple. Not revenge, not cruelty, just clarity. I wanted her to know I knew. Not in pieces, not in suspicion, but completely. No room left to lie. I waited until Sunday. We'd gone through the motions all weekend. Groceries, folding laundry, a movie I barely remembered. She'd been warmer than usual, almost clingy, asking to cuddle, reaching for my hand in public, laughing too hard at things I didn't say to be funny. It was performative, careful, like she could feel the floor shifting. By Sunday afternoon, I'd already set the pieces in motion. First, I forwarded everything from her second phone to mine. Screenshots, messages, contacts. I'd copied the entire log to a hidden folder, timestamped, backed up, encrypted. Then I called the restaurant, Chuan Garden, the delivery spot. I used a burner number. Said I had a complaint, missing items on an order from last week. They pulled it up fast. 2:48 a.m. Delivery to our address. And yes, the driver did leave it directly with the customer, not at the door. I asked if they had a note on the account, something that might help identify the customer. Girlfriend of the guy in the black car, the manager said. He tips well. I thanked him. Hung up. No more speculation. No more maybe. I waited until evening. She was in the kitchen again, cutting fruit. Something clean. Innocent. You ever think people aren't who you think they are? I asked from the doorway. She paused mid-slice. That's kind of vague. I mean, someone you live with. Someone you trust. And then one day, something small doesn't add up. She smiled without turning. Sounds like a bad Netflix movie. I walked toward the table. Pulled out a chair. Saturday. No, I said. It's not. She glanced at me over her shoulder. There was something behind her eyes now. Not fear. Not yet. But tension. A flicker of it. Like a thread had been pulled too far. Did something happen? I set my phone on the table. Turned the screen toward her. Opened to the folder. Dozens of screenshots. The messages from May. The schedule titled WD. The black car outside at 2:48 a.m. She didn't come closer. She didn't say anything. She just stared at the screen. When she finally moved, it wasn't toward me, it was back. One step. A shift in weight. As if her body was trying to flee before her mind gave it permission. You went through my stuff? I smiled. You were more careful with the trash than with your burner phone. You should have locked it. She exhaled sharply through her nose. Not a sigh. A reset. Okay, she said. Okay. So, what? You want me to explain? I tilted my head. Do you think there's an explanation? She rubbed her fingers across her eyes. Not crying. Just stalling. I never touched him, she said. Not like that. That was her opening. Not denial. Just strategic damage control. I let the silence stretch. She continued. It was stupid. I shouldn't have responded to him. But I don't know. I felt invisible. Invisible, I repeated. She nodded, voice gaining confidence. You've been distant for months. You barely talk to me unless I started. And when I do, it's like you're not even there. Like you're waiting for me to screw up. Were you? She blinked. Waiting to screw up? I asked. Or did you already know you were going to? That threw her. She sat down slowly, as if her legs might not support her much longer. She didn't reach for the phone, didn't touch the screen. He's no one, she said finally. He was just someone who paid attention. You fed him. I fed a lot of things, she said. Her tone was harder now. Loneliness. Anger. Regret. I'm not saying I was right. But it wasn't about him. Then what was it about? She shook her head. It was about being seen. I stared at her. And in that moment, I didn't feel anger. Just clarity. You were never invisible, I said. You were just always performing. And I stopped clapping. She flinched. I saw you. I saw all of you. Even when I didn't want to. But now? Now I see you clearly. So what now? She asked. Her voice had flattened. Not scared. Just resigned. I slid a folder across the table. Real, not digital. Printed screenshots. Notes. Timelines. What is this? A copy, I said. For you. In case you forget what I know. She didn't open it. Just stared at the cover. Are you leaving? She asked finally. I shook my head once. No. Confusion flickered across her face. You are. She blinked. What? You're going to stay at your sister's. Tonight. And you're going to tell her it's your idea. Your choice. No one needs to know the truth yet. That's what you wanted, right? Control? You're kicking me out? No. I'm giving you a chance to leave on your own. With your name intact. With your job. Your dignity. Because what comes after this, if you don't, I won't be quiet about. I didn't raise my voice. She understood anyway. I never meant for it to get this far, she said. But that wasn't the truth. She never meant to get caught. And that was the difference. She didn't say much after that. Gathered her things in a silence that felt too smooth. Like she'd practiced this before. A laptop, a few changes of clothes, some skincare she never shared with me. I watched from the kitchen while she folded each item like it mattered. Like any of it still had value. She paused once, hand hovering above a framed photo of us on the hallway shelf. Didn't take it. Didn't flip it either. Just left it there. A perfect metaphor. She left around 9:30. No fight. No scene. Just keys in the dish and a lie about needing space to think. I stood in the doorway and watched her walk to her car. She looked back once, not at me, but at the house. Then she drove off. The porch light clicked off on its own 5 minutes later. The silence that followed was a new kind. Not lonely. Not peaceful. Just final. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I missed her, but because everything that had once felt ambiguous, the doubt, the gut feeling, the slow drift, was suddenly sharp, specific, weaponized. I remembered the first time she said she loved me, whispered it like a secret into my neck. We'd been drinking wine in the park. She wore a green scarf that kept falling off her shoulder. Her breath smelled like strawberries and smoke. I remember thinking no one had ever looked at me like that before. But now, in hindsight, I realized she hadn't been looking at me. She'd been looking through me, at the version of herself she liked in my eyes. And once that version faded, so did the truth. The following week, I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends. Not hers. Not my mother, even though she always suspected something. I let the lie breathe. I let her keep the script she'd built, taking time, reconnecting with herself, working on us. I let her believe she still had control. But I was already preparing the exit wounds. I had the messages, the delivery records, the schedule in her notes app. I had the restaurant on record, the neighbor's security footage. All of it timestamped, backed up. I wasn't going to use it. Not yet. But I kept it close, like a loaded gun I didn't want to fire. She texted me 5 days later. Just one sentence. I missed talking to you. No apology. No accountability. I didn't reply. 2 days after that, another message. Are you okay? And then, can we meet for coffee? I never answered. She came by once, unannounced. Knocked. Waited. I stood in the hallway, breathing quietly behind the door. She left after a minute. I saw her through the peephole, eyes glassy, mouth drawn into a soft, manipulative line. The same face she made the first time she lied to me. I just hadn't known it was a lie yet. A week later, a mutual friend messaged me. Said she'd told them we were on a break. that she needed to heal, that I was being distant. I didn't correct them. Let her build whatever stories she wanted. But behind the scenes, I made my own moves. I closed our joint account, transferred the lease into my name, called the delivery app, and had the account flagged for potential fraud. Canceled her profile, reported the number on the burner phone, blocked it, and I mailed her a small box. Inside was the burner. Factory reset. No note. She never responded. I guess there wasn't anything left to say. 3 weeks passed before I started to breathe normally again. I rearranged the bedroom, donated her books, sold the scarf I once thought she looked beautiful in. The house echoed differently now. Not empty, just honest. There was a night, maybe a month after it all, when I sat on the back steps with a beer in hand and watched the street go quiet. Same street, same porch, but the air didn't feel heavy anymore. Just still. I thought about how small it had all started. A single message. Thanks for your order. 2:48 a.m. And how that one timestamp unraveled an entire world. I don't believe in fate, but I do believe in missed signals, in warnings ignored, in masks that slip just long enough for you to see the person underneath. She'd always been careful, until she wasn't. And I'd always trusted her, until I couldn't. Now, when people ask what happened, I just say, it stopped working. And they nod, because that's how most stories end. But not mine. Mine ended at 2:48 a.m., with a receipt I never ordered, and the truth she never meant to deliver. Thanks for watching. If this story pulled you in, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the next confession. Until next time, take care and watch who you trust.